Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and welcome to everyone for attending the IoT Asia Plus Indonesia Roadshow. My name is Talita and I will be your host for today's event. The IoT Asia Plus Indonesia Roadshow is part of the lead-up event for the Digital IoT Asia Plus 2022 to create opportunities for collaboration and overcome industry challenges. The program will be focusing on bringing to you the latest updates from the Indonesia perspectives, as well as focused discussion on healthcare and manufacturing industries. We are proud to present Accessible and Digitally Connected Indonesia as our theme for this roadshow. This theme was carefully curated to reflect focus on people and infrastructure and how enterprises look at IoT as the enablers to build new businesses, stay competitive, and deliver greater value despite being in the COVID-19 pandemic. Before we proceed, please post any question which you may have using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you Mr. Darren Sia, Business Director of Constellar IoT Asia, and Pak Teguh Prasetya, the chairman of Indonesia IoT Association, to give you the opening remarks. Over to you, Darren.
Thank you, Talita. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for this IoT Asia Plus Indonesia Roadshow, focusing on accessible and digitally connected Indonesia, held in collaboration with ASIOT. I would like to thank Pak Teguh Prasetya from ASIOT for collaborating with us to curate this session together with the Ministry of Communication and Informatics, Dr. Ismail and Pak Mulyadi, Ministry of Industry, Dr. Heru, and Ministry of Health, Pak Setyaji, for their support and for agreeing to speak. Thank you very much. Today's session is part of a lead up for IoT Asia to create opportunities for collaboration and overcome industry challenges. As a business event platform, IoT Asia aims to be the catalyst to help industries and businesses in their transformation process. Comprising of new delivery formats curated to serve the unmet needs of customers, the event centers around carefully curated content, solutioning showcases, and serves as a platform to engage the IoT ecosystem. The application areas will focus on 4 key sectors in which IoT will make a big difference: connected retail, healthcare, transport and logistics, and real estate. IoT 2022 will be held on 16 to 17 March 2022. Please visit our website, internetofthingsasia.com, for more information. I'm excited for the session today, and the program will focus on bringing you the latest perspective from Indonesia, as well as topic highlights on healthcare and manufacturing industries. Please enjoy this session, and we look forward to welcoming you to IoT Asia in March 2022. Over to you, Pak Teguh.
Thank you, Darren, and good afternoon, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Will be honor for us as Indonesian IoT Association as a co-host of this event. We do hope that this event, as a collaboration between ASIOT, Constellar, also Singapore Industry Automation Association, will conduct today as a part of the IoT Asia Plus Roadshow. And thank you also for all participants here that been here. And also thank you for Ministry of Infocom, Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Industry for the kind support. Also, thank you for all association that is related to the healthcare as well as for the industry manufacturing areas. As we all know that IoT in Indonesia is growing rapidly, even though we are still on the pandemic situation, but digital transformation and Industry 4.0 movement in Indonesia, supported by all related government, as well as all IoT ecosystem in Indonesia, it's still doing good and even better because of the pandemic. We understand that without the ecosystem development, without the participation for all of us, from all of us, the industry will not grow as fast as we are predicted. So within this event, we are hoping that all participants as well as all audience that been logging today will enjoy, will have, and will get the fruitful information and study as well as use case during this event. For sure, the event will continue, and please welcome also for the next event. Please enjoy. And we as an association of IoT Indonesia, very grateful and thank you for all of us. Back to you again, Talita.
Thank you, Bapak Teguh and Darren, of course, for the opening remarks. Moving on, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you our keynote address, Bapak Dr. Insinyur Ismail MT. Currently, he's a Director General of Spectrum Management and Standardization of Post and ICT from Ministry of Communication and Informatics Indonesia. Over to you, Bapak Dr. Ismail, to address the milestone and the future of Indonesia Digital Blueprint.
Thank you, Talita, for your kind introduction. Distinguished speakers, moderators, participants, and all. Thank you very much for kind of opportunity to me to deliver speech. First of all, I would like to describe you all about the potential of the digital economy in Indonesia. Why I have to bring it? Because IoT solution is very important part, very important technology take a very significant role to booster our digital economy. I would like to start to the situation, learn from the situation from pandemic COVID-19 that we believe that the needs of connectivity is a very important connectivity to all of our society. We have very important issues to cover, no left behind. No one of Indonesian peoples left behind to connect with the digital internet or digital connectivity. So that's why government now coming with the very ambitious and tremendous programs to speed up connectivity. Based on our study that Google mentioned that the digital economy of Indonesia now achieved 49% growth year on year. Nowadays, Google said that at least $70 billion is digital economy Indonesia in 2021. And the same study also projected by the end of 2025, at least Indonesia will reach $146 billion of digital economy. On the study of the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, also predicted that Indonesia digital economy will grow for $44 billion in 2022 and will reach around $323 billion by the end of 2003. So the growth is almost 800% based on the study of Trade Ministry. The Central Bank of Indonesia also projected that the value of e-commerce transaction in 2022 will grow around 31.5% or reach $36.9 billion. So based on this situation, I would like to say that the potential of digital economic growth of Indonesia is a very big compared with even with our neighbors in Southeast Asia. I think Indonesia is the biggest growth and the biggest amount of digital economy. Being aware of this opportunity, the government of Indonesia has worked tremendously to close the digital divide. As I mentioned before, that digital divide is very critical issues need to be solved as soon as possible, because we have around 17,000 islands need to be connected. So we do believe that connectivity is a very important issue once we're talking about so many new technology, including IoT solutions. Based on our plan that by the end of 2022, all of our village will be connected by the 4G broadband networks. So I think that we will speed up and government will support and invest so many billions of dollars to connect all our people with the broadband mobile. We do understand that not enough with the broadband mobile, we also support with the satellite connectivity. By the end of 2023, we will launching the new HTS satellite, the biggest satellite in Asia in terms of capacity is around 150 gigabit per second. So I think the connectivity issues need to be covered as soon as possible with the government and all the operators in Indonesia. After that, we are talking about the IoT solutions. How IoT solution can support to booster and to get the opportunity of the Indonesian digital economy. I do believe that IoT connectivity is not talking about the connectivity itself, but IoT meanings is a solution. How IoT can coming with the new technology, new solution to all of our sectors, especially some sectors like healthcare, transportation, logistics. We need the solution, and we do believe that there are many initiatives will come from the local industry to bring the connectivity. We do also that 5G network also take a very significant part or significant role to booster the IoT solutions, because 5G networks will cover the big data, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things will play significant roles to make the use cases on top of the 5G networks. As you know, there are 3 operators that already being commercial to deliver the 5G solution or 5G connectivity in some part of Indonesian city. We will booster this 5G network, especially to support in smart city program. As you know, smart city program for all of our city, the big city needs to be covered by IoT or so billions of sensors. So I would like to invite of all of us to coming and with this condition and opportunity in Indonesia. There are some specific problem maybe can support or can solve by the IoT technology. This opens to opportunity to massively develop of IoT solution and meets the Indonesian specific needs. The regulators' roles in supporting and accelerating IoT development has been very crucial. In collaboration with IoT Association, Ministry of Communication and IT have organized some event, including IoT creation event since 2019. The event gathers IoT makers to develop many IoT solutions that meet the needs of Indonesia. This event consists of hands-on of workshop, IoT makers competitions, exhibition, incubation, and market visits. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia will open its doors wide to boost the growth of technology, especially IoT solution. both of private and government sectors with the country will take hand in hand with the position to surely require enormous of investment. We believe that IoT solution will take a significant role in bolster digital economy. So that's why this event is very important for us. We would like to invite all the makers, creation, and investors to come to Indonesia to get this opportunity and give us the solution in many sectors, especially in some sectors that very essential in nowadays, including how we combat the pandemic COVID-19. Once again, I would like to congratulate for this event. I hope that such collaboration can further strengthen our collective effort to boost our nation digital economy and Southeast Asia. Let us strengthen collaboration, create giant innovation, and transform for all our country into a digital world. I think that's my my speech today. Thank you very much once again. Hopefully we get a fruitful discussion and get the benefits and solution for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bapak Ismail, for the speech. I'm sure that it was an eye-opener for many of us to learn more about the future of Indonesia Digital Blueprint. A gentle reminder for the audience to post any question which you may have in the Q&A button on your screen, and our speakers will attend to you shortly. Next, I would like to introduce you our moderator for the next station, Mr. Satvik Rao, the Principal Director of a center. With his vast knowledge on strategies to collaborate in overcoming the adversity ahead, Mr. Satvik will be leading the session today to discuss on the future of Indonesia IoT interconnectivity. Joining him at this panel discussion, we have the first one, Bapak Setiaji, STMSE, the Chief Digital Transformation Office from Ministry of Health, Indonesia. Second, we have Bapak Teguh Prasetya, the Chairman of Indonesia IoT Association. And Pak Mulyadi, the Director of Standardization for Equipment of Post and Information Technology from Ministry of Communication and Informatics, Indonesia. Next, we have Bapak Jogianto, the AGM Business Development from Polytron. And last but not least, we have Bapak Ibnu Ali Nur Safa, the Tribe Leader IoT Platform and Service from Telkom Indonesia. Take it away, panel.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking your time to join this panel. So we have an esteemed panel of experts spreading across different segments of IoT ecosystem today. You have seen the introduction. So without further ado, I'll just get into the questions. So maybe I'll start with, because healthcare is one of the biggest topic most of the people who have been talking about in last 2 years. Of course, the recent developments of excluding the war that is happening right now, but I think the healthcare was one of the biggest topic of all of our interest for last 2 years. So let me start with Pak Setiaji on the healthcare ecosystem and how they are helping digitalization of healthcare in Indonesia. Pak Setiaji, let me start with a question on, so you understand that the past 2 years have been governments and citizens across the globe realize how vital the healthcare system is. And how do you see in this context IoT and digital solutions helping in providing better healthcare to the citizens of Indonesia? What is your point of view on that, Pak Setiaji?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Satvik. Good afternoon, all the panels and also the participants. Yeah, I think all of the panelists agree. The pandemic is the best lesson learned. How the IT and also the technology informations more increasing, not only about the usage and also about the innovations. when we talk about the healthcare systems, actually the IoT is in the pandemic, it's very useful, yeah, for not only for us for the governments, but also for the people itself. Because when we talk the pandemic, you can meet each others, and you need to keep a distance. And the IoT is one of the solutions, because we can still detect, we can still get the information, we can still get now, and we can still get communicate and also make some activity. And the important thing is we can detect the patients, the people who have sick, yeah, use the technology. In Ministry of Health, we did many innovations, yeah, for the IoT itself. For example, to detect the people not use the mask, using the video, and then also using the IoT to to check the people is eligible or not for enters, and then also check the saturations of for the oxygen, etc., to monitor the people. So with using this IoT, we make sure our approach and our activity and the targets to manage the COVID can be handled. As you saw before, now, yeah, the Indonesians still manage and still give the facility, give the services using the technology like the IoT. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. That's very insightful. So from there, I think putting the IoT solution together, especially for a healthcare type of critical requirements, I think it's about ecosystem play, where associations play a major role. Maybe let me switch my question to Pak Tegu to understand. As we all know, IoT ecosystem is complex. It involves sensors, OEMs, edge gateway providers, network operators, platform providers. I think one of the complex technology ecosystem. Pak Tegu, what is your take on importance of ecosystem collaboration? How do you see that is happening in Indonesia?
Thank you, Satvik. As I mentioned by Pak Setiaji as well, the benefit of IoT implementation and the demand itself was so huge here. That's why we need to, from the day one, from the beginning of the IoT development in Indonesia, we are pretty aware that collaboration among all the IoT players, all IoT stakeholders, it is pretty much important and pretty crucial for us. That's why, together with the Ministry of Infocom, later on Pak Mulyadi will talk about that, we are defining what we call Indonesian IoT roadmap. Those one is back on 2017. So by that, we are defining that the success of IoT is actually the success of collaboration among all the stakeholders of the IoT. Not only device makers, not only network provider, not only platform provider, as well as not only the application provider, but also the academia, the government, also the media itself. Not necessarily the what you call the offline media, but also online media also and social media is taking huge roles to accelerate IoT education first, IoT dissemination of the information, as well as the IoT penetration at last. So by means of that, and that's why we are hand in hand with all stakeholders, always carry on, especially in the association of the IoT in Indonesia. We always doing socialization and education to the customer, to the end user, to the corporate, even to the university, the student itself, because they are the one that will operate, will create later on, and also will manage the IoT solution that we deploy at the end. So again, socialization education is necessary. And secondly is about standardization. We're also making all the standardization to make it easy. All of them is interconnection, and interop between each other. And that's why we are creating a lot of Indonesian national standard of the IoT, and also the standardization of the competence for the human resource itself, to make it easier to everybody to study IoT, to get certification on the IoT, to become an expert of the IoT itself. And last of not last is also talking about collaboration. That's why we are having here is we are collaborate not only domestically or local collaboration, but also global collaboration to make this penetration is faster and even stronger. That's my comment, Setfix.
Thank you. Thank you. I think a very interesting comments. I think especially around the people and the skill sets, I think is an important aspect. Often it is missed out. I think for have a holistic transformation, that's an essential part in the transformation journey. So I think switching gears towards more of the standardization and what is the role of the organizations, public sector organization in bringing this collaboration together, or the ecosystem partners together. Let me ask Pak Mulyadi a question on what is the current progress and some of the ongoing efforts in this direction in terms of standardization that is happening, Pak Mulyadi.
Thank you, Mr. Safik. Good afternoon, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm honored to represent of the Indonesian government to discuss Internet of Things in this event. Yeah, regarding the government activities to develop the IT ecosystem in Indonesia, we collaborate with all stakeholders in Indonesia, including the IoT device provider, gateway providers, network operators, platform providers, regulator, and also academia. Government formulating regulation and policy to ensure smooth and efficient implementation of IoT. These activities needs collaboration from all stakeholders. One important things in the formulation regulation is to prepare a spectrum that can be used together for IoT application without a formal license. And in the standard, technical standard for the IoT device in Indonesia, the current standard for IoT device is still related to the use of spectrum for IoT devices, electrical safety, and EMC requirement. Several technical standards related to the use of the IoT have been applied since 2019, including technical standard for surveillance devices, low power wide area, and frequency usage in the 2.4 and 5.8 GHz band. This year, Kominfo, in collaboration with the National Standard Agency, will formulate Indonesia national standard related to technical standard of IoT. In order to develop a harmonized standard, we will refer to international standard so that it can be applied and get support from many IoT industries. That's, I think, our progress in Indonesia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Mulyadi. Okay, switching gears again, I think to Pak Jogianto, maybe my question is around more of the smart and connected product, right? So in everyday life, we started to see a lot of connected products being it. I think the expectation is that our washing machine to be connected, our bakers to be connected, including your aircon, everything's to be connected. And how do you see this segment is growing in Indonesia and what is the Indonesian end users, consumers expectations around this, Pak Jogianto?
Thank you, Safik. So first of all, allow me to introduce, I came from Polytron. So in regarding your question, everything is now well connected, including the data. So all the data from our daily machinery, our daily car, even washing machine, even refrigerator, is all connected to the internet now. So IoT is something that we cannot avoid these days. So according to Pak Setiaji, recently sharing about how we manage the pandemic. So, during the pandemic, everybody stay at home. So it means for us who do the manufacture for home electronic equipment, it's like raising the bar. I mean, from the production, from the supply, and then the sales, everything is all increased. So it means in our point of view, so we have to tackle both ways. So once we have to tackle the pandemic first, health, and then the economic as well. And lucky thing that Indonesian government bodies in all from all ministry is working fantastically awesome. So how when we deal with Delta variant that time, you can imagine that time Indonesia is crumbling down like India that time, then we can recover, including from us, manufacturing sector. So all our transportation is being shut down that time. Then Ministry of Information, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Industry that time taking a good approach by sampling any company that can do the government regulation correctly, they can operate. It's called IoT, the license. So it means the manufacturing still can do the production, and then distribute throughout country. So with the IoT that we know all this time, I mean, Indonesia is getting better and better day by day, because we have a big middle class on 2035. So hopefully, as our president mentioned, that this is not a trap for us, but we have to take everything in our favor to make us benefit from the middle population on the 2035. So from that point, I'm giving lots of hope to our government, to our industry, to collaborate together. So everything we can discuss together. So everything we can do together, including implementation IoT in the Indonesia as a country. I think that's my point of view for now.
Awesome. Thank you, Pak. My next question would be is for Pak Ibnu, especially on the telcos. I think telcos have been the most prominent early advocates of IoT. Even before the term IoT was coined, I think there is machine-to-machine, MTM connectivity platforms. Telcos were always advocating the adoption of IoT to the industries. So do you see telcos have moved up the value chain from providing connectivity platform to and becoming more of the ecosystem enablers? What is your view on that?
Yeah, thank you, Satpik. Yeah, currently, telco operator, most of the telco operator, very aware that device IoT is very huge potential, because current subscriber, human subscriber, has been saturated. So we move to serve the devices. Every IoT devices needs connectivity to connect it to the platform or application. This is the big potential for telco to provide the connectivity, specialist for the IoT. This one, yeah. Also, current telco, including Telkom, provide not only connectivity. Telkom, for example, provide the platform and application platform to support the community to develop the devices and application. Also, Telkom currently has been deployed LPWA network special for the Internet of Things. We have already deployed LoRaWAN network entire Indonesia. Also, our Telkom group, Telkomsel, provide the NB-IoT and also next for the 5G network. We believe that telco cannot be alone. We need to develop community to support the device maker, application maker, and then support the solution provider. Currently, we have already mixed cooperation partnership with the ecosystem, including telco provide the incubator program to accelerate the IoT business, digital business in Indonesia. So if there any startup company, they can join with Telkom via incubator program. Okay, thank you, Sophie.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the whole first round of questions gave me a clear overview how the ecosystem is effectively collaborating in India, in Indonesia, especially covering all the spectrum of regulators to telcos to the solution providers and associations. Right? Very, very impressive collaboration that's happening in Indonesia. So my next question, again, coming back to the healthcare discussions that we are having with Pak Setyaji. So healthcare is one area which we always see a challenge when we have to offer a solution because it's highly regulated domain. How does Chief Digital Transformation Office help healthcare innovations to come to mainstream? Are there any structured programs such as regulatory sandbox, like smaller companies and new niche technology providers can come and provide solutions within the boundaries of the regulation? So can you shed some light on that, Pak Setyaji?
Yeah, I think very interesting. Yeah, talking about the ecosystem in the healthcare, especially for the innovation itself. Yeah, maybe we can check the figures of the numbers of investment of the health techs, yeah, in the words. But in what is around billion rupiah to 10 or 20 billion rupiah in the quarters. But in Asia, only 2%. Maybe Indonesia 0.%. This is very sad, yeah. If we can compare within the other countries like US and etc. So our Ministry Health has launched what we call the health tech spaces. Health tech spaces is the one of the, I think the spaces, not only virtual but also the physically spaces to. This is the place for the ecosystem, for the startup, for innovators, together build the health tech innovation in Indonesia. We provide not only the sandbox regulatory, but also the talent development, investment, etc. To these ecosystems. Yeah, for the sandbox regulatory, we just trial for the malaria, yeah, for the health tech innovations, and now we together within the ecosystems collaboration within the university and etc. to provide the sandbox regulatory for the health tech. Yeah, we hope with these innovations we can make sure the innovators, startup can grow, yeah, because they confidence to provide the solution because the governments give the license, and then make sure the innovation already comply for the regulation, but not only regulation but also the security, the clinical, and etc. Yeah, I think this is one of the initiative what we have some plan, yeah, in our blueprints for the strategy, the health transformation in Indonesia. Thank you.
Very impressive. I think it will be helpful for some of our audience who would like to bring some of the innovation into the mainstream to get to a next stage, right? Very helpful, Pak Setyaji. Very helpful. So my next question will be for Pak Tegu. What's your view on IoT standardization? We heard from Pak Mulyadi about the standardization, and you yourself, Pak Tegu, you mentioned about standardization. Do you think we have reached a stage where it is ready for mass adoption? Because sometimes regulations become just regulation, right? Adoption become a challenge. So where do you see we are in terms of that? Yeah.
Thank you, Satwik. Well, first of all, the regulation about frequency, for example, it is back to 2019. So government has issued the regulation on the frequency, also the device certification back on 2019. Since then, all the ecosystem industry has followed that regulation. So afterwards, without the regulation, I think most of the manufacturer as well as makers will leave what you call their field on the uncertain situation, right? With the regulation, with the standardization, then they have at least a blueprint of the guidance for them to build the system. And as I mentioned to you, we are growing rapidly. For example, a smart home. From 2019, there is 1.5 million of home here in Indonesia being smart. 2020, you can imagine the growth will, well, you know, it's growth rapidly. 6.5 million household in Indonesia is smart. 2021, we do believe the numbers will be doubles. You know, it's 12 millions right now, and then 2022, it will go up to 17 million of households becoming smart because of that regulation. Aside of the standardization of the frequency band, standardization of the devices, we, together with the Ministry of Infocom, also adopting the global standard, the ISO IC standard for IoT becoming Indonesian national standard. So by that, we are leapfrogging again for the creating standardization. So we adopting global standard, becoming Indonesia standard. Right now, it's already 6 Indonesian national standard that was based on ISO IC standard, global standard. That's also will speed up the implementation, will speed up the adoption, will speed up also the collaboration that will bring all the IoT solution can become a solution for our nation, for our people's daily needs, for the healthcare, for the manufacturing, for other industry too. So what I mean is after the standardization is there, then we should do socialization for sure before we enforce this standardization becoming a must. Because right now the standardization is still becoming a guidance, especially for Indonesian national standard, right? It is becoming a guidance for them to start looking at the framework, looking at the use case, looking at the terminology and others that is related to the global standard too.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak. Yeah, so I think from the standardization, mass adoption, the next question may be to Pak Mulyadi on what is the approach toward testing and certification of the IoT devices that you're that is there in place in Indonesia, Pak?
Thank you, Sabik. Yeah, in accordance with the telecommunication regulation in Indonesia, every telecommunication equipment must comply with the technical standard applicable in Indonesia. IoT device among those that must obtain a certificate before being circulated or marketed and used in Indonesia. Applicant can submit an application for testing to the test lab in Indonesia or use test result from a recognized foreign testing lab by the Ministry of Communication and Information. There are 11 local domestic testing laboratories and 126 recognized foreign testing lab for IoT testing. So I think this is can make a circulated IoT device in Indonesia more easier. The certificate process is fully online. The profile process will be done within 1 working days. And for further information about the certification process, there are information in our website, certificasi.postal.go.id. And regarding the testing, foreign testing lab and domestic testing lab, it can be accessed in our website too. The name is elab.postal.go.id. I think the certification and testing for IoT device in Indonesia not difficult. It's easy, and it takes 1 working day for the certification.
Wow, okay.
That's for our support to deployment the IoT application in Indonesia. Thank you, Mr. Sari.
Okay, thank you, Pak. I think within a day of testing and certification is very, very impressive, and I think many companies can get benefited from that. Have a regulatory approved and a tested device. I think getting that to the market is always good from a security and end user safety perspective. So very, very good information. Maybe next question is over to Pak Jugianto on how do you see, so we heard about regulatory standards testing. So how do you see collaboration between manufacturer of electronic appliances or IoT devices and government standardization and regulatory agencies are happening? So, yeah.
Thank you, Sabik. So the collaboration between the industry and the government is being like wonderful all this time, because actually from my company, from Polytron, we are acknowledged by government as well as a testing lab to do the testing for the IoT product. So mostly like frequency like 920, 923, the limitation, everything. So because the lab has been certified by local assessor as well to do the testing, everything, and the result will be approved by Cominfo itself. So the one who issue the certification is Cominfo, and then we do the test because our lab is certified. So it means our relationship with the government is like partners. So every device that need to be delivered to the market, delivered to the people, it must be through our strict certification. That's why we are encouraging from IoT as well, encouraging all the IoT makers everywhere in Indonesia to be get certified. So whatever they bring up to the world, I mean, whatever they make, please do the certification first. Otherwise, we can have a quite huge problem. You know, IoT is not only 1, 2, 3, but it's 1,000 or million devices. So it means if you do the certification right now, I think it's easier to maintain for the long run. And then now Indonesia is being in, if you are aware, the brand is called Bardi. Bardi now in Indonesia is like invest heavily in Indonesia. So a lot of the smart home that Pak Teguh mentioned is dominated by Tuya and Bardi. It's the same standard actually. So they are well connected. So people is easy to purchase everything. So as long as our machinery is, our product is connected to that standard, they will talk each other between the IoT devices. But the best thing from us that we are doing the regulation first rather than the device first. Usually in Indonesia, device came first, the regulation came before. So sometimes it's like, but not for the IoT. IoT, we are first. So we plan everything, including the frequency that we can use, and then which one is IEEE, non-IEEE, that we need to comply with the standard from the government, it's already being laid there. So every maker in Indonesia just follow the regulation. That's the how good relationship between makers, manufacturing, and government. Thank you, Sabit.
Thank you. That's very encouraging to hear. Thank you, Jaganto, Pak Jaganto. The next one, maybe let's switch gear a little bit more towards the solutions, the verticals and the solutions. So maybe I'll start with Pak Ibnu. So because the telcos are the one which will know where their connectivity is being used, right? So they are the best case to provide where the industry is heading towards in terms of vertical solutions. So Pak Ibnu, if you can shed some light on where are the 2 to 3 verticals you are seeing massive demand for IoT solutions in Indonesia, whether it is transportation, healthcare. I think if you can give some overview of that, it will be helpful for our audience today.
Yeah, thank you, Satvik. For telco, massive implementation IoT is very important because telco investment on infrastructure. Telco provide the infrastructure to connect the IoT device. Without massive implementation, telco investment will hard to the recovery, like this one, because we need a massive connected device to provide affordable price to our customer. So the massive implementation as IoT is very important to provide the corporate entire Indonesia, because we need to invest very big investment because Indonesia very big country. Also, we need to provide the affordable price. So Telkom always seeking for the massive implementation of IoT. 3 of the massive implementation of IoT is for the smart city, including for the smart meter. Smart meter is big potential for IoT implementation. The second, also, I see that transportation is the big opportunity because Indonesia has to be efficient in the logistic in terms of the transportation. And also, healthcare is the very big potential because Indonesia also around the world we currently facing the pandemic. Yeah, we need solution or massive solution for the healthcare, for example, for vaccine distribution or the tracking of the patient like this one is very important. But there are some challenge to the implement massive IoT in Indonesia. First is the price. Currently, with the price of the device still high, far from the affordable price. Is it the obstacle for the basic implementation? Also, currently, I see that most of devices is still import. Yeah, I think we need to more device manufacturer in Indonesia here. Also, I think standardization. This is I think is very good to protect the Indonesian manufactured devices, because with the standardization we get a good product, and then also we can support the Indonesian ecosystem for the device maker. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pak. So picking on the healthcare use cases, maybe I'll go to Pak Setyaji again. There are a lot of emphasis on the fitness and well-being after the COVID situation, right? People are extremely interested in fitness and well-being. I was talking to a client. They're discussing about pay as you live, like the insurance companies, right? So they're looking at having fitness data, and you based on your lifestyle you pay the premium, right? So those kind of discussions are happening, and fitness tech and healthcare tech is becoming mainstream in that aspect. So how do you see Indonesian consumers embracing fitness tech and healthcare solution or health tech solutions, Pak Setyaji?
Yeah, I think the consumer of Indonesia. I think not only in Indonesia but also in some of the worlds very appreciate, embrace to use this technology. Because not only about to improve their style, this is like a new style, and then because the price itself is now going to decreasing, but some of the brand is very cheap, and we can get the many features in this technology. We have also some initiative to connect. You know, the Peduli Lindungi. Peduli Lindungi is one of the biggest applications in the world, to have the tracing and tracking for people, to make sure the people when enters is safe for the COVID. And we will connect the wearable device, and then also with use the Peduli Lindungi. With this initiative, we need to promote preventive and promotive, because as you know, we still focus to curative. So we can make like some points if you walk today or for 5,000 steps, and then you can get points, and then you can change your points maybe to the retail for Alpha and etc. I think with the collaboration within the governments, and then also to the technology itself, we can make this more embrace for the people using this. But now it's still increasing for the embrace. Thank you.
Give me a second. Sorry. Sorry about it. Okay, thank you. And I think the next question would be for Pak Tegu. So I think the associations play a major role when it is bringing everyone together, as we agreed. So how is your organization SEOT is helping IoT startups and innovators? Because some of the new use cases, new generation of use cases, bringing them to mainstream, how your organization is helping in that aspect, Pak Tegu?
Okay, thank you, Zafik. Well, we are working together with, first of all, with all ecosystem, and even with the Ministry of Infocom, we have regular event, what we call the IoT creation. This one is since 2019 actually. So we make a roadshow across Indonesia, big cities, and then educate them, make some workshop. After that, we encourage them to create a solution based on the IoT. And finally, we find out and we make competition. One of them, the winner we will incubate. And we are working together with the big company like Telkom and so on, and to incubate the winner of that one. So we are creating more and more startup in IoT. That's why we call it, we collaborate each others. Even we are also having with the Ministry of Industry, what we call business matching. So between the provider and actually the potential user that will use, especially for the industry, to speed up the making Indonesia 4.0. So that one is also happening here. So again, the role of Association of IoT in Indonesia is actually becoming an enabler for all the stakeholders of the IoT. So that's what we did.
Thank you, Pak. More now, because we have discussed about verticals, we have discussed about standards, we have discussed about startups. So it's another big concern when it comes to adoption of IoT is the IoT security, right? So maybe a question to Pak Mulyadi. Are there any programs focused on IoT security and addressing consumer IoT devices, like common threats faced by consumer IoT devices? So are there any initiatives around that?
Thank you, Safik. security is important aspect in the digital technology. Everybody has aware with the digital security. In general, government has program to educate people to aware for the security in the digital technology. Government of Indonesia with Parliament is in the progressing for preparing a Data Privacy Protection Act. The issue of the IT security is something we need to be discussed with the many stakeholders in Indonesia. Like the other technology, we are identifying and learning from the other countries how to treat security issues in Indonesia. And together with the all stakeholder, formulation security guideline or standard for IoT. Currently, Ministry of Communication and Information in collaboration with the National Cyber and Crypto Agency has organized focus group discussion in order to formulate strategy regarding security issues. Indeed, there are still many things that we need to be learned and prepare to maintain the security of using IoT and protect IT users from virus threat. Kominfo will work with the all stakeholders to formulate appropriate action to address this security challenge. That's my point of view, Safik.
Thank you, Pak. My next question would be for Pak Jagianto. So Indonesia, if you see, has a huge domestic demand for IoT devices, right? So domestic market is huge. And it has a good established manufacturing supply chain ecosystem known for some of the manufacturing of automotive and other components. And what's your take on Indonesia's potential to become a significant hub for IoT device manufacturing in the region, Pak?
Okay, thank you, Safik. So first of all, we have to acknowledge, Indonesia have 230 something million population. This is huge. I think we are still number 4, if not mistaken. So first of all, we have the market. And second, for the IoT, we are not unlike when we have a smartphone booming. So when smartphone came to Indonesia, until now, we don't know anything how to manufacture a smartphone, how to design a smartphone. We don't know. But for IoT, with Pak Teguh that already mentioned, collaboration with carrier as well, collaboration supported 100% with the Kominfo as well. The initiative is to empowering people, technocrats, to create the solution based on IoT. So lots of the professors from the well-known technology university in Indonesia, even they are professors, they have their own solution to track the weather, to track the air quality inside their cities. So all we need to do is collaborate all the solutions that already in place in market into one platform. So the initiative that we already do, that government already enforced us to do year by year, because the event that Pak Teguh mentioned is already running about 4 years in a row. So lots of solution, lots of the winners from that event. So the solution is there. So from us as a manufacturing to bring the solution into the reality, into the production, I think it's one small step. So the potential in Indonesia is quite huge. And you have to know that Indonesia is, Indonesian people is very welcome to the technology. The technology absorption in Indonesia is very high number. Yeah. So whenever a new smartphone you throw to Indonesia, the purchase number is quite high. Yeah. So including the IoT as well. So people want their home become smarter. Some cities officer want to their city become more smarter. So everybody, they have their own needs to the IoT implementation. So hopefully in the near future, let's say 2030, we will see that Indonesia will grow quite huge on the IoT development. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we have many questions from the audience. Let me pick some of them. So one of the question is to Pak Ibnu on the IoT implementation has spread in around segmentation industry. Is that mean that telco company nowadays must have a competency in various industry segments?
Okay. Thank you for question. Yeah. IoT implementation is very wide. Different industry, different specification, and then different also different requirement. So telco is provide connectivity, and the platform infrastructure needs to know the find problem across the industries, because different industry, different requirement, different problem, and then maybe different infrastructure that should be provided by telco. So telcom not only needs to upgrade the competency to know the various industry that implemented IoT, but also telco needs to cooperation with various industry. Currently, we needs to cooperation with industry that potentially using IoT, for example, manufacturing, utility, healthcare, transportation, agriculture, etc. Because we believe with the cooperation with the other industry, that we now upgrade our competency to the private industry, we can serve the industry to provide the infrastructure or the platform. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. So another question to Pak Setyaji. What do you see as some of the possible challenges of connected healthcare in Indonesia? At the same time, within healthcare, what would be the more popular application for enterprise solutions? So it's two-fold questions. Challenge and what is
okay. The challenging is now is about the standards, because some of healthcare facility already existing systems, and we need to make these standards. Actually, in our blueprint, we already put the standards using the SL7s, and also for FHIR for a data exchange. And we have also some requirements for emails like a DICOM and etc. And this is about this. And then the next thing is about the people itself, for human resource, especially the IT peoples in the hospital, because not only in the primary care, but also in the hospital, we also have some lack of the capacity to maintain the systems. And then the other thing is about the connectivity. Some of the area have connectivity. Maybe we can use like offline and online first to cover this. And then the other thing is about the platform. Actually, now we are going to build the platform, what we call the hospital healthcare information systems in Indonesia. With this platform, we can connecting not only the virtual like telemedicine, but also in the physically hospital, lab, and etc. Actually, now we already connect with the thousands labs, but only for the COVID.
Okay.
And now we move into the others. So I think this is the challenges.
Thank you, Pak Setyaji. I think we are towards the end of the panel discussion. Thanks everyone for your wonderful contribution to this discussion. It was very meaningful discussion. I think it helped our audience to give a full broad view of Indonesia's IoT ecosystem. Thank you everyone. Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Satvik, and all panelists for the wonderful conversation. Next up, we will be having the keynote session by Pak Feby Selianto, the Chief Enterprise and SME Officer from XL Axiata. Pak Feby will be covering on the topic of advancing healthcare with next generation enabling technology. Let us welcome Pak Feby to the stage. Over to you, Pak.
Thank you, Talita. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum, all the attendants for these bright afternoon sessions. It is a very fruitful discussion that we heard starting from the opening and also the message coming from Pak Ismail and also the rest of the speakers. For these sessions, I would like to share what is one of the use case that we already serve for the healthcare industry, as today's topic is talking about the accessibility and digitally connected Indonesia, especially for the future of Indonesia for the IoT connectivity. So allow us to start the sharing. Maybe we can go to the next slide. Yeah, first of all, I think from all the speakers, they are all agree that connectivity is taking a key role for this digitalization and also talking about IoT in many sectors. Not only for the healthcare, of course, but for any aspects in our life. So XL Axiata, as the one of the biggest telcos in Indonesia, is trying to also entering into that market, that requirements by providing best connectivity with the solutions that will also run on top of that connectivity infrastructures. XL at this moment presents in about 95% of where the population is actually exists in Indonesia, with the supporting infrastructures using 4G LTEs, as well as coming up with the 5Gs, and of course also with all the backbones, be it for the inter-islands, intercities, as well as internationals. And not only XL Axiata alone, so we are actually having a sister company, partners also that supporting this business. If we came across with Boost, Aspirasi, ADA, and some others that also presents in Indonesia to support the ecosystems with the application, with the financial services or supports for the small market enterprise, and also for the analytics and for the IT infrastructures. I think that's the just the brief overview about the XL Axiata's business and also the infrastructures at this moment. I think we can go to the next slide. Yeah. So with this pandemic that we already what I call it experiencing since 2 years ago, we are now having a situation where we have to be a friend with this situation. So if we previously seeing that as a very uncertain hardship situation, now probably we have to see it from the other side. Probably not always the high tide or the high wave that we see. Maybe down there in the downstreams, we can see more, fair wave, or maybe more easy or journey that we can have. So with this, what we call is a new way or new new mindset that we have. Hopefully, this pandemic even can give us an opportunity to be better, to improve better, and collaborate better. Next. Yeah. Talking about healthcare. we understand that in this industry or in this area, if we see from the data, the respiratory disease as well as the heart disease is taking the top problems or top challenge for all the people, not only in Indonesia but all over the world. And with the growth of the new generation at this moment, for the X, Y, and Z generations, they are more and more aware about their healthiness, and therefore they are having concerns, high concerns on the fitness level, preventing the ill, and also having frequent exercise, and will also have an early detection of these heart and respiratory problem. With these facts, then we in Excel Axiata is trying to give an answer and support or solutions how to improve the situation or how to serve the requirements. I think we can go to the next slide. So there are three main journeys that I would like to share in these sessions. Number one, to answer that requirements on how people can be treated better, can have a better preventions, can have a better wellness. Number one is we are improving time to time the connectivity. I think Pak Setiaji already mentioned one of the challenge that on the health industry having at this moment is on the connectivity. So why we are actually putting an effort on this connectivity for the healthcare is because if you see here, the IoT for the medical things is expected to reach 332.67 billion in 2027. I think we just have the numbers from Pak Ismail earlier that this year alone, the IoT will probably have around 300 billion. And in 2027, the IoT for healthcare is around 332. So it is a very huge requirement for the healthcare industry for having this solution. So that's why connectivity, be it 4G, 5G, and also equipped by the MB-IoT is the focus area that we are developing at this moment. 4G is actually already been covered, like I mentioned in the previous slides, around 95% of the Indonesia population location. 5G we already started together with the other operators with the support from the Ministry of Kominfo. We are starting already on several areas for having these 5G networks, and hopefully it can have more and more networks to connect and cover the areas in Indonesia, especially for the healthcare sectors. And BIoT at this moment we also already developed it. Currently we have covered more than 40-50 cities in Indonesia. This one is really to support the IoT requirement for the healthcare and other industry as well, of course, for the low power and also low bandwidth requirement. Why we again focusing on this area is because of the more and more requirement for the faster data or image, and then the multi-access edge computing, as well as the wearables and virtual augmented reality that getting more popular at this moment. Go next, the second one after connectivity. Next, the vertical data integration. So in this healthcare use case, we are trying to providing a solution on top of that connectivity using the NB-IoT, and on some other places also can use the 4G LTE by having this what we call a devices that will be very attached with the people activity daily. So it can measure the heartbeat, it can measure also the respiration, as well as the blood pressures and some other vital measurements. This has been implemented in one of the popular health center in Indonesia, and the animo or the acceptance from the users, from the patients is very high. Because again, not only for those that would like to have a prevention so that they can still healthy by having all these measurement, but also for those that already get some problems for the health, but at least they can understand the status daily so that they can uplift and maintain their healthiness level, not to be not being getting worse in the future. So this is one of the healthcare use case that we already implemented. In details, I think we can go to the next slide. This is the one that we are supporting at this moment. So with that devices, the IoT devices, then it can be measured, the heartbeat, breathing rate, body temperature, steps, calories, and then it can be shown in the application so the person can or the patient can see it, as well as the doctor or the caregiver. So there will be a communication, a discussion about what's suitable exercise for these persons. For those that already having a heart problem, or for those are already having a diabetes, or for those that very well healthy, what kind of exercise, what kind of food, or what kind of works, and what kind of activities that they can do. There's some windows or some threshold that probably each of the person will be different in comparing to the healthy level that they have. These are the use case that we are implementing at this moment, combining again the connectivity and the solutions for the healthcare. Next one, that solution will not be stopped there. Of course, we have to support the ecosystem as well. I understand that at this moment, probably measurement of that patients of that person is the one that important. But later on, with the improvement on the healthcare, with the telehealth, with the telesurgery, and many other advanced telemedicine and healthcare services, we believe that all these has to be somehow what do you call it? Somehow has to be gather all the information and then having a right analytic for having a right recommendation. This data analytic for the healthcare industry, it is important not only for the patients, not only for the institution, the healthcare, but also for the government. Let's say talking about the BPJS for all the Indonesian citizens, and also for the financial institution like insurance and so on and so forth. So the data that we gather, the analysis that we are having from this IoT and connectivity that we are having, hopefully it can give us a better society, better measurement about the healthy level of the Indonesian people. As the closing, I think we can go to the next. In short, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so connectivity will always be evolved. 4G, 5G, and BIoT that we are having, it will not be stopped there. Vertical data integration, the healthcare solutions that we are having at this moment, we hope that it can also supporting the problems, the challenge that the healthcare have at this moment. And the third one, the integration to the other ecosystem in the regulatory, in the financial institution, in the hospital institution. Hopefully, it can also give us a better healthcare situation in Indonesia. I think I will stop here. I will give it back to you, Talita.
Thank you, Pak Heru, for the wonderful presentation. I'm sure the audience has learned a lot from what you have shared on the advancement on healthcare and next generation enabling technology. Lastly, we would like to introduce you the panel discussion moderated by Pak Fenki Christian, Regional Chairman from Indonesia ICT Businessmen Association, or we call it APTIKNAS. Pak Fenki and his panel will aim to discuss the current strategies implemented to remain nimble and ahead of the regional aggressive competition. Along with him, for this panel discussion, we have the first one, Bapak Dr. Insinyur Heru Kustanto, the Director of Center for Optimizing Industrial Technology Utilization and Industrial Service Policy from Ministry of Industry Indonesia. Next, we have Bapak Fadli Hamsani, GM Industrial Internet of Things from Telkomsel. Next, we have Bapak Budi Sulistiarto, the Digital Transformation Leader from Schneider Electric. And last but not least, we have Bapak Daniel Suryananta, the Technical Director from Akebono Break Asta Indonesia. Over to you, panelists.
Yeah, thank you, Talita. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all in a good condition and healthy. Thanks for attending our second roundtable session. So, with manufacturing output contributing close to a quarter of Indonesia total GDPs in the last few years, the Indonesian government has officially launched the roadmap of making Indonesia 4.0 in April 2018, encouraging the industry to adopt the new manufacturing IoT technologies to remain competitive and stay ahead of the curve. However, challenges have risen during implementation, ranging from capabilities and interoperability issues, the lack of the technology infrastructures. This panel will aims to discuss the current strategies implemented to remain nimble and ahead the regional aggressive competition. We will discuss about converging AI system to accelerate industrial transformation. All panelists, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Fenki.
Yeah.
Good.
I wonder, the event is called the IoT Asia, should be a focus on IoT, but why our panel will talk about the artificial intelligence?
Yeah.
So the answer is today we realize the artificial intelligence play a growing role in IoT implementation, IoT application and deployment. Since major vendors of the IoT platform software now over-integrated AI capabilities such as machine learning-based analytics. So the value of AI is the context is the ability to quickly bring insights from data. Okay, the first round, we will talking about the strategies. Yeah, I think the first question is come to you, Pak Fadli, as the biggest telco provider to support and accelerate the industry transformation. What is the strategy of Telkomsel, especially related to the IoT system in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. Panelists, Pak Heru, Pak Daniel, Pak Budi, Pak Fenki, and all the audience. Thank you very much for the time. Yes, like what Pak Fenki mentioning just now, that the AI is the artificial intelligence is the next step that now everybody is talk about that. As biggest, the largest, the telco company, and also now is focused on the digital company. As a digital company, Telkomsel have what we call the Telkomsel IoT, that now is really focused on supporting the digital transformation in the vertical industry. So we are driving and also delivering the smart connectivity as our core competency, like what everybody know about that. And also to have another division on the supply chain and the mobility, and for the industrial IoT that I lead at this moment. So we are in Telkomsel really have a big effort to support the industry, especially on the vertical industry, since a few years back, we have a lot of activity to support our customers to implement the IoT, start from the connected and also to do the collected the data from the ground, from the sensor until the next level, and then doing the visualization of the data on the dashboard in the real time. I think this is the first step, Frankie and all the audience. This is the first step that needed to be done before we work on the next step of ensuring all the data is ready to go for the next level of the data analytics with AI, doing the machine learning and all the things that Frankie mentioning. And also we are work with the business process owner, this is a really important point. We need to understand very well how they need to use their data with the existing application that we have on the several applications that what we have, like in the fleet management, for example, in the industrial real-time monitoring for all the critical parameter on asset management, on operation process, and including also in the energy management. We believe that we are ready now to go for the next level of the analytics to bring more insight for the fastest decision making for our customers. Thank you, Pak Frankie.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Fadli. Okay, next question will be for Pak Budi. Pak Budi, the Schneider Electric is a national lighthouse for Indonesia in 2019, as I remember. Do you use the IoT and AI system in the factory? Can you share more on details?
Okay, thank you, Pak. Thank you for the questions. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Pak Frankie, Pak Heru, Pak Fadli, and also Pak Daniel, and also all the attendants. Okay, talking about the Lighthouse, National Lighthouse in 2019. Yes, we are in Schneider Electric Manufacturing Batam. We are starting implementing of IoT by the end of 2017 by connecting the critical parameter of the critical asset or machines. So we are, as one of a solution provider also, we are eating our own food, which is we are using and utilizing EcoStructure. EcoStructure is an IoT-enabled platform of Schneider Electric that open and interoperable also. So EcoStructure consists of 3 layers: connected product, edge control, and apps analytic and services. So we are gather all the data from the several connected product such as temperature sensor, humidity sensor, pressure sensor, voltage, and then current, etc. So like mentioned by Pak Fadli, that we are in Schneider Batam also connecting from the production machines and also utility equipment. So and then from that connected product, we collect all the data and then save to our edge control, and then visualizing and monitoring from apps, analytic, and services. In last 3 years, more and more assets are connected to IoT, Internet of Things. Data collected also become bigger and bigger right now. So that's why yeah, we agree the next journey is not only to collecting the data and visualizing or real-time monitoring, but more on data analytics. Yeah, same as mentioned by Pak Fadli, this data analytics is to get faster and better decision making, right? So by implementing AI, for example, in our factory, can eliminate the gray area judgment. For example, like vision inspections that we implement in Schneider Batam. Previously, we are using manual inspections to inspect the quality of the product. Then we improve to automations using camera vision inspections. And now we are improve against using artificial intelligence in vision inspections. So we are defining the data structure and data model in AI. So user just need to provide the inspection area, and then later on choose whether it's pass or fail. So no need to do the reteaching every time if there is a offer quality of rejection or offer pass, but just need to select pass or fail. So in here we can reduce the setting time, configurations time, and so on. So not only in quality aspect, but also in predictive maintenance, and also we are implementing to get the best parameter or input. So we have data from input like a sensor, and then we are collecting to be big data, and then we are linked to the output of the process, either is pass or fail. So by implementing AI, we are trying to get the best parameter to get the best output. And even IoT and AI are becoming MMR in our factory. MMR is a mandatory minimum requirement, meaning to say that each of Schneider Electric factory must implementing this technology to improve their operational. So IoT is standard mandatory minimum requirements, and then AI is become advanced like that. Thank you, Pak Franky.
Very, very interesting. Thank you, Pak Budi, for sharing that. Okay, the next will be for Pak Daniel from the PT Akebono Brake Astra Indonesia. Akebono is a joint venture company from Astra Auto Parts and Akebono brake industry, engaged in the automotive component, particularly in production of brake, the content of disc brake and drum brake for the car, disc brake and master cylinder for motorcycle. Akebono also achieved the National Lighthouse in 2020. That's very interesting because we have two panelists from the National Lighthouse, yeah, so we can learn a lot. How was the journey, Pak, to become the Lighthouse? How was it started?
Yeah, thank you, Pak Franky, and good afternoon, all participants and panelists. I will tell a long story, but no, I'm shorted the story. Yeah, our company established as local company in 1981. Name was PT Tritharma Wisesa, and take over as joint venture company between Astra Auto Parts and Akebono Brake Industry Japan in 2006. At that time, management have a dream to be known in the Asia, to be number one brake manufacturing in Asia. So we make a program called we call a wonderful company, which consists of 3 pillars. First pillar, we make some wonderful plant. So in this time, we restructuring shop floor to be good lean production system. We did total relay of equipment to make straight and simple line process. We utilize Kanban system to make a small lot and small production. Second pillar, when we make a wonderful office in 2012, we built new office with green concept. First is green concept, which office controlled by use auto device sensor, to reduce energy. Example like temperature control, lighting, and meeting room book by control by tablet or something. Yeah, we start digital transformation from office because we think accreditation have a low risk, but the impact is more big. Third pillar is about people. So we call wonderful people. We develop people to manage 2 pillars before, wonderful plant and office. But in 2017, we make reflection for wonderful company program. And things still not enough to reach number one in Asia. Because time change, competition is very getting tight. So we need additional pillar in this current program. They are new technology, IoT, and connectivity. Good news from government, from Indonesia government, that in April 2018, same as Pak Franky tell, Indonesia launched Making Indonesia 4.0 with Astra selected as pilot automotive sector. And we are part of Astra. So we put in our company direction that we must be moving towards to Industry 4.0. So we did assessment with Indy 4.0, joining government training about Industry 4.0, and finally we joined benchmark to Schneider Batam as the worldwide lighthouse. We met Pak Fadli in Batam as leader Industry 4.0 transformation in Schneider and discuss about some activity, but I think similar as our activity. So we invite him to visit our company and to to check what are our activity, and he gives some recommendation that our journey moving towards Industry 4.0 is correct way. So yeah, just give some need additional improvement if what we say by more structuring. It makes increase our motivation to reach more challenge. Also, we receive an advice from Ministry of Industry when they come to our company. They challenge us to more explore again, yeah, about Industry 4.0 activity. Basically, we think if new technology as used in the Industry 4.0 make benefit, we can direct implement it. Management full support for this activity. Of course, all activity must calculate and sort by what the benefit we get. And we start from not big, but we start from simple or problem in shop floor, like rejection rate, productivity achievement, maintenance activity, waste handling. And we face two new technology like IoT, sensor, digital device, visualization by monitor, tablet, AGV, VR, to help employee work and being answer of the problem. From the small land, like model land, and now almost 60, yeah, about 60 or 70% in our shop floor already integrated with new technology. About artificial intelligence, we together cooperate with university. Now we develop sound test equipment, utilize AI. This data used for 100 check the crack inside brake pad by sound frequency test. Yeah. Currently checked by hearing, operator hearing, and it's depending to human ear performance. In this day, good, result good, but if no good, the result is different. The equipment still under development now, but I think artificial intelligence can help to solve this problem because there are many data and can which the machine can judge which okay or NG. I think this journey bring our company selected by the National Lighthouse because we have plan, roadmap, and goal in 2025. We want to be smart factory. Like this, our story, Pak Fangki. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the sharing, and I think it's very good, yeah, for everyone hearing about this, especially Pak Heru Kustanto, yeah, because yes, I think 3 companies and then become the 20 companies, and then next what? How many companies the target, yeah? So Pak Heru, the Making Indonesia 4.0 involving expanding the ecosystem. Yes. Some of us already know about the Indi 4.0 and then Cindy 4.0. So what next, Pak, after that?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Pak Fangki. Good afternoon, the panelists and the participants. First, I want to express my glad expression, yeah, because in the session is present 3% is very important for us, for government of Indonesia. 2 from the lighthouse industry, yes, Schneider, the first and the global lighthouse in the by World Economic Forum, and second is the Kibono. It's very important to government and to company as lighthouse, and finally Pak Fadli is for personnel is very helping for our government, for ministry to set up the first our policy making in making 4.0, Pak Fangki. So yeah. I think it's very very important for us. Thank you for all, yeah, for the industry, also for the many stakeholders here. I think it's very important to bring our coordination to increase our accelerate to implementation of Industry 4.0 Indonesia. So now, Pak Fangki, we will continue to carry out the Industry 4.0 transformation program through, we have 2 main activities. Yeah, the first is the Indi assessment, and the second is the Industry 4.0 transformation assistant. So as in the regulation, as the Ministry of Industry number 21, year 2020, concerning measurement of industry readiness level in transforming toward Industry 4.0, or we call Indi 4.0, the implementation of the Indi 4.0 assessment consists about 4 steps. Yeah, the first is the training on the industrial 4.0 transformation, both through awareness of industrial transformation 4.0 and the technical guidance for industrial transformation 4.0 managers. Second is self-filling of the INDI 4.0 assessment through the National Industrial Information System, or we call SINAS here. And the third is verification on the INDI 4.0 assessment. And the four is issuance of the INDI 4.0 assessment certificate. Is for 30 years during implementation. Meanwhile, in the Industry 4.0 transformation, assistant is include the first is we select a company as mentoring a project, and then identification of pain point and gap analysis of industrial companies in the transformation of Industry 4.0. And next, we formulating strategy and roadmap for Industry 4.0 transformation, and deploy industrial transformation 4.0 project, monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of industry transformation assistance. So I think government Indonesia, like from Ministry of Industry, to increase the number of the industry that involved in our program in making Indonesia 4.0. We have many industry can transform to Industry 4.0. We make like a model for the Schneider and Akebono, that implementation of Industry 4.0. There's many benefits like productivity and efficiency. So if bring up all the industry in Indonesia transform to Industry 4.0, also the from the national we can increase our productivity and efficiency. That's my answer, Pak Franky.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Heru. So audience, we already heard about the strategies. I think we will go around again talking about the challenges. Yeah, Pak Fadli first. In your opinion, what is the challenges for implementation the EI or IoT EI in Indonesia?
Yeah, thank you, Pak Franky. I think this is is the time that everybody, especially in industry, now looking on the another step of the transformation using the analytics. So for sure that we understood when we want to start to do any transformation, we identify the pain point, and we always have a challenge on that portion. So if we talk about the challenge of the implementation of AI or artificial intelligence, the data analytics is not only in Indonesia normally, but if we see on the especially on the based on our experience working with a lot of industry in Indonesia, we are seeing that the data integration from the several existing systems that they have. So sometimes if you can say it like Pak Daniel and also Pak Budi from the industrial manufacturing, so we can see that they have already the existing system. So the data integration from a lot of system itself in a data platform, it's become a challenge and it's having a solution. So why I can say it's a challenge, because sometimes the communication between the existing platform is a bit challenging. So that's the first challenge that they have in implementation of the machine learning or the data analytic. But the solution is there. What is the solution? The solution is a data platform. Another point for that also is talking about the silo system behaviors. Most of the time, I'm really happy, like what Pak Budi from Schneider mentioning just now, is the system has to have an open protocol, interoperable system, and etc. That's also what is the solution provider like us, like everybody there also looking on. Because if the system is silo, we cannot get any maximum information of data from the existing use case on the shop floor or in the top floor. Then they cannot get any data or enough data to do the data analytic to implement the AI. So the silo system behavior is the second challenge, I can say, that is always happening in the implementation stage. Another point is about some of the data is not digital ready yet, mean that they still have some data that need to get from another equipment, devices or equipment that not ready digital yet. So this is also another challenge. I can say that we are not working with the greenfield industry, but also a lot of brownfield industry. And for this, they need to add in with the digital sensor that ready with the NB-IoT or something others, connectivity sensor that can finish the level of connected and collected to go for the modernization equipment. That's another challenge. And the third point, and what is the solution for that? And another point also is about the subject matter expert. I think we cannot forget about this. When we talk about the AI, we talk about the data analytics, we need to have some subject matter expert that understood very well about the business process. This is what we call the technical expert on the business process owner. So if they know about their business process as a business process owner, then they need to collaborate together with all the data engineer to segregate the data, to cleansing the data, to go for the next level of the data analytics and AI. And the last not least, from my opinion, is that the feasibility study on the return of investment, the tangible calculation of the business impact. This is something that we need to educate more, collaborate more with all the stakeholders to understand very much what is the benefit and direct impact of implementation the AI on the industry. Thank you, Pak.
Very, very loud and clear. That's what I love from Pak Fadli. Yeah. Okay, next, Pak Budi. Pak Budi, national lighthouse and then become the global lighthouse is the management. The management is the key to accelerate the strategies and implementation. What do you think, Pak Budi?
Yeah, okay, Pak Franky. Yeah, that's true, Pak Franky. So not only talking about the technology, if we are talking about this transformation, right? But people, culture, and management, this is the key. So how to accelerate this transformations is by the support from top management. So in Schneider also, we have visions, factory visions. So previously we have TSG 4.0. Tailored Sustainable Connected 4.0. This is to guide us to transform this business value in our factory. And now, starting 2020, our visions become a Strive. Strive is sustainable, trusted, intelligence, velocity, and efficiency. So in here, we are talking also about intelligence and sustainable. Sustainability is talking about how we can reduce our CO2 footprint, green industry, green energy, and so on. And intelligence in here, we are talking about digitalizations and then business improvement through digital. So yeah, by the support from this factory, corporate, and also top management will be fully helpful for us in terms of accelerate these transformations.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Budi. So, Pak Daniel, I think your management already aware about the current update, and also you need to become #1, right? So any problem with the human resource to keep up? Yeah, how is the strategy related to the human resource supporting this IoT, DCI things? Yeah, go ahead, Pak.
Thank you, Pak Wangki. Yeah, I think the problem from human resource, I think, yeah, same as I agree with Pak Fadli, we don't have expert for digital transformation, yeah, and in Indonesia, I think limited too. And the young people who have a knowledge of digitalization, of computer programming from school or university, they reluctant to work in the manufacturing. They prefer to work in the software or startup company or something. So yeah, we must be develop our own people, make them skill up and push them to use a new technology for their to help their working. And we prepare like Dojo, yeah, we call Dojo or learning center for learning about it. Ownership project for digital transformation. This is our program to make them to learn by themselves. Management just here review what their request and approve their project if okay, and follow up the progress. Important is management must be follow up and review of the progress. We encourage them to explore any anywhere. Like before pandemic, exhibition ITAP, we send some engineers to there to see, and Hanover Mess, we join to, and seminar, webinar, or another. So for operation, yeah, this is like silo mentality of operator. Yeah, they must be new technology, but we push them to use technology already installed and put auto protection. Example, they using tablet to see control achievement or check daily equipment. They using tablet. We keep tablet to daily check equipment. They must be scanned in the machine, barcode in the machine, and they follow instruction in the tablet and checking tablet. They must be make a photo, and after check okay, they must be submit. Currently, they are just only using a paper, but the paper can make a layer of the report. So with the digitalization, we know they do some checking. If they not do the as tablet instruction, the machine cannot running. So machine can stop. So that's why we push them to use the technology. The biggest challenge about the people and human resource, I think, about how they maintain what already set up. Change the mindset in operation, yeah, in the shop floor is not oriented output only, but totally system or process how output can manage effectively. Yeah, like this, Pak Angki. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's why I think you need to open the new vacation for Chief Digital Transformation, Pak. Okay. Next to Pak Heru. Pak Heru, you already heard about the challenges, right? Do you agree that the IoT and AI is the important pillars in industrial transformation? What do you think, Pak Heru? Sorry, Pak Heru, I think you're still on mute, Pak.
Okay, sorry, Pak Bangki.
Yeah.
Yes, I very agree with your opinion. I think IoT and maybe IE is the 2 of 5 fundamental, yeah, 5 fundamental technologies like advanced tech robotics, augmented reality, or virtual reality and 3D printing. I think it's very important fundamental to mastering technology, and will have impact in the very years future and on the competitiveness of the country, industry, or the value chain of the production process. Application of technology and solution applied in production and manufacturing process can be one of these 5 technology, or standalone or applied in combination. So I think in the first implementation of the Industry 4.0, IoT is the most famous technology that use of the many industry in Indonesia. Is the beginning, yeah. And next, maybe in the next year, maybe IE on the other technology that use to complete it, the technology in the industry. I think it's very important. IoT is the basic technology in Industry 4.0.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Heru. Let me check yet. I think there are some questions, from the audience. Yeah, from Xuyen Lim. Hi, Xuyen. Hi, Pak Daniel. As a manufacturing adapting IO 4.0 and IoT and being a larger enterprise, do you see that adopting IoT or digitalization is difficult for smaller companies in Indonesia?
Yeah, thank you, Xuyen Lim. Yeah, question. I think small company in Indonesia, they can adopt IoT system. Yeah. Example, yeah, like online commerce. This is one of the IoT use, and how we use the small technology to help our operation in the company. First, we do if any problem in the land, and we just only thinking, oh, we can use this sensor to help us to work. And after small sensor, we can connect it, and we can integrate it, the data, and we can pick up the vertical data. This is more easier. I think, yeah, we start from small thing and small technology, and if we collect, the small company can do it. This is something.
Yeah. Actually, you can start from small, ya, Pak, ya.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question is for Pak Heru. What are the flagship program or policy from the Ministry of Industry to help local Indonesian companies transform, Pak?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think the flagship, the first is to increase awareness, yeah, to increase awareness the whole importance of technology, especially in Industry 4.0. So in our program, many program to implementation of the training, yeah, especially like for the small and medium enterprise, how to introduce the what is the simple technology, like how to connect to the marketplace. Is we have also program we call a smart IKM, yeah, smart IKM for our small and medium enterprise to connect the marketplace. It's the simple technology. I think for all the industry in Indonesia, we want to mention that Industry 4.0 not too expensive, like Pak Fadli Hamsani that's very say. It is depend on the business, depend on the process. We can divide every level of the implementation of the technology in Indonesia. So the investment is not one. If the struggle is not what is kendala, constraint. The first important, like Pak Budi, is management, is the people and culture is also important. Not depend on technology, but person or people also we have to very concerned here. That's Pak Panggi.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Heru. Once again, Pak Heru, there's a question, from Pak Laude Muhammad Hairun regarding IoT certification for HR. Where and how do people who take the initiative to learn IoT enthusiastically to get an IoT competence certificate issued by credible institution, in Indonesia? Do you have clue, Pak?
Yeah. Maybe there are many institution, organization, like from Pak Teguh before. I think there have also like this education and then give the certification. It's many organization, professional organization to issue the certificate of professionalism. But in our ministry, we have the program to, but only for the company like manager. We also many program for the training, but not for the certificate program.
Yeah. Okay, I think there's no more in the Q&A, so I think we can close the session, thank you all panelists, very informative, very insightful. We learned a lot from the strategies from big companies who became the national, even the global lighthouse, very interesting. We heard also from the government's perspective, the IoT and converging AI is the key points, pillars of the industrial transformations. Once again, thank you all panelists, Pak Heru, Pak Daniel,
Thank
you,
Pak
Fadli.
and Pak Budi. Thank you for
Daniel, Pak Budi, Pak Fadli.
Yeah, Pak
very
Heru,
interesting.
Healthy, keep healthy.
Pak Daniel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Talita.
Thank you, Pak Frankie, and the rest of the panelists for the amazing discussion they have covered. I believe the audience have gained knowledge towards the use of AI system in addition to IoT technology to accelerate industrial transformation.